Hello. Okay. Okay. I accidentally hit the button, so we got to go live now. So welcome to Nutrition Equity, the podcast dedicated to shining a spotlight on the critical issues surrounding the Medical Nutrition Equity Act, also known as the MNEA. I'm your host, Joanna, and throughout this series, we'll delve deep into the pressing issues, the pressing need for the bill to become a reality. The MNEA holds the promise of making a substantial difference in the lives of countless individuals. It seeks to mandate health insurance companies to cover the cost of essential medical foods, medical formula, and medically necessary vitamins. But as of today, it's yet to pass, leaving many in a state of uncertainty. In recognition of November being Diabetes Awareness Month, we've chosen to dedicate this month to uh, take talking with patients who have covered conditions and also diabetes. And in this episode, we'll hear from a remarkable guest, Jessica, who not only manages the challenges of diabetes, but also it faces the complexities of another rare condition called homocystinuria. Jessica's story is a powerful reminder of how health conditions intersect and the incredible determination it takes to navigate a world where not only have to where we not only have to follow a low protein diet, um, but also have to keep carbs and sugar in check. And it's a challenge. It's a challenging balancing act that goes beyond the everyday struggles of managing diabetes. So stay tuned, and as we dive deep into the Medical Nutrition Equity Act, exploring how the MNEA could make a difference in the lives of individuals like Jessica. Together, we'll work towards raising awareness and advocating for change. Join me as we embark on the enlightening journey right here on Nutrition Equity. So, starting off, can you tell us your story?
Yeah. So I was diagnosed with homocystinuria at the age of 5 years old. I had a lot of developmental delays as a child that made my mom seek medical professionals um, help. So the first part of my life I was breastfed, and that actually was a blessing because it actually breastfed is known to have lower methionine than infant formulas. And as soon as we came off infant formula, we started seeing the development delays where I didn't sit up right at the right time. I didn't walk at the right time. Um, Crawling came later than normal. I and at 5, we were finally at a physician's office that was like, it's either one of two conditions. It's either cystinuria or homocystinuria. So from there, they did a bone marrow biopsy. And from that point, I got my diagnosis of homocystinuria. Um, and little did we know that it was actually affecting my vision as well. My lenses were subluxing due to the high amounts of methionine and homocysteine that I was getting. And um, that was a challenging in itself. So we started a low protein diet of only 2 grams of protein per day.
Mhm.
And I this was very challenging for me because my favorite food as a child was chicken nuggets, and not being able to eat them and not really understanding why was so difficult. So from there we started multiple different formulas, trying to find a formula that was right. They finally decided on Hominex, and my parents would try to put like chocolate syrup or caramel syrup, which was kind of defeating the purpose of the formula because those things had methionine as well, but it was the only way that the formula was getting drank. Um, from there, I really struggled through schooling and did not like a lot of people had questions and I just didn't know how to answer as a child. Um, so that was very challenging for me. And from there, I went, um, and it was a struggle financially as well. Um, as a person that was only allowed 2 grams of protein, we had to rely on medical foods, which cost an arm and a hammer to afford. And it really caused some financial distress on the family. We got through it, but it wasn't without the help of family and friends just trying to pour into into our situations, and um, the University of Michigan's healthcare team trying to like find samples of things for us. Um, I was given insurance through the state when I was diagnosed. Um, it was called Children's with Special Needs. I was on that until I was 21 years old. At 21, I was cut off. So I went from having coverage my whole entire life until I was 21. And then I did have private health insurance as well, but private health insurance is not mandated to cover the formula or medical foods in Michigan. So that was it was a battle. We fought with disability, we fought with healthcare insurance companies. We finally got like 2 years later. I was given During that period though, I was given like grants and assistance through Nord or the hospital itself for medical formula,
Mm.
um, which was a struggle. Um, uh, and I was died, and so we fast forward to 2016. I had been accepted through Medicare in 2015, was given back um, my state insurance at the age of 24. And then we fast forward 2016 came the diagnosis of diabetes. Now, these conditions are conflicting conditions because with diabetes, you're supposed to have high protein, low carb. And with homocystinuria, you're supposed to have low protein. And with lower
Yeah.
protein foods, there's a higher carb content. So that was very much a struggle trying to learn to balance it all. At this point, um, I was on a very carb heavy formula. I was on Med Johnson. It was the only formula at this time that I could handle. Um, our formula has come a long ways in the pill in in tablet form now. I um, and I am in a clinical trial to help manage the levels of homocystinuria. And within that clinical trial, my protein has been able to increase um, quite significantly. Um, and I, sorry.
That's good.
Um, so we take all that together, and um, they, I have decided in 2000 and the end of 2017 that I was going to end up on insulin because of the diabetes was too hard to control with trying to manage homocystinuria because of my protein intake needing to be so low, um and then my diabetes needed to be so high. We had to move things around, and now I my protein tolerance is supposed to be between 10 to 12, but with the clinical trial that I'm currently in, I am taking in between 30 to 50 grams of protein a day, of regular protein, which I still need medical foods, because even though that seems like a lot of protein, it's not, because it's protein that still is low in methionine and low in homocysteine. So yes, I'm getting people regular normal people protein, but I am not getting all the nutrients that I need, all the essential amino acids that I can get from medical food. Um, do you have can you, yeah.
Okay, so moving on. Let's see. What are the challenges you've faced in dealing with both conditions? Well, you went over through some of that. Okay, so how does the low protein diet impact your daily life? Are there any specific foods or ingredients you have to avoid that most people might not know about?
So I have to avoid dairy um, on the low protein diet, and I have to avoid like I can't have a lot of um, meats and dairy are like the two major things that I have to avoid with homocystinuria. Um, I can have some meats with my diet, but not a lot, um, because I have to balance the amino acids out.
Mm. And what about things like nuts, seeds, flowers? Oh, yeah, your nuts allergy also. So I forgot.
Yes. So I have a peanut and tree nut allergy, so I have to avoid anything with peanuts and tree nuts. So the only um like alternative milk supplement that I can use is oat milk um safely.
Mm,
So like cooking wise, like we have to use oat milk. I use flour from Cambrook to make things mix quick. Um there are products that I use from Taste Connections,
mm.
which is another low protein food store here in the United States. So trying to manage those things can be difficult, because for someone with just homocystinuria that doesn't have food allergies, they can use almond milk or coconut milk,
Yeah,
but these things are not options for someone with a tree nut allergy.
yeah. Well, you can also do like hemp or flax. Is a lot of people use flax milk.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Balancing a low protein diet with diabetes management must be incredibly challenging. Could you describe some of the daily struggles and choices you have to make?
So, yes, it can be extremely challenging, because I have to think about what I'm going to eat and how I'm going to eat it throughout the day. But then if I have a low blood sugar, that means that can be all thrown off, because I do have to treat it with like 15 grams of carbs, but then I need protein in there too in order to stabilize my sugar. So, like I said, I am thankful that I am on the Traverse clinical trial right now, because without that, I really don't know how I would be managing both. Um, I wasn't very let's just say, compliant before on this trial with low protein, because I felt like it was a twist 22. Like, I could never manage my blood sugar and manage the condition. Since starting this clinical trial and being an open label, I have been able to increase my protein, and my homocysteine level is still below 70.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before it was over 200,
Mm-hmm.
because I couldn't, there was no way of control. When your sugar dives, you have a choice to make that has to be significant in that moment. When your homocysteine is high, it takes days to add up to that high. Whereas when your sugar is, if you don't act right away, you could die within minutes, or you could go in a coma within minutes. It's something that is it's very challenging, because you have to put you have to have A and B, and you have to have an A B together, and you have to figure out how to manage and how to mainstream that A B.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned the clinical trial. Where are they at with that?
So right now, so I've been in the clinical trial since January of 19. Um, we I started off in cohort 1 as the guinea pig patient, meaning I was the first patient enrolled in the clinical trial.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, it was something that I knew that someone had to step up and be that guinea pig patient. And at that time, I felt like I had nothing to lose, because my levels were so not stable and so high. I was very fortunate to not have a blood clot like most people in their 20s have had, with the levels being so high. Um, but I knew there had to be a change. So I said, well, I guess I'll give this a try. And there was no guarantee that I was going to be on the drug. But looking back, even before we went into OLE, I can tell you that I was probably given the drug, but I don't know for a fact. But we saw significant levels change. So right now, I am in a portion where we just finished phase 1, 2, and of the trial, but I will stay in OLE until this drug is either approved or denied by the FDA. It could be another 3 years. It could be another 5 years. It's really uncertain, but it really depends on the patients with homocystinuria wanting to be a part of the clinical trial. If we don't have the patients being a part of the clinical trial, there's no data for them to present to the FDA
Mm-hmm.
for this drug to be approved.
So yeah, which clinical trial is this? There's several.
It's composed by Travers Pharmaceuticals. So right now it's a peg drug. So I'm getting the drug twice a week. Since we've moved to OLE, I am giving the drug to myself.
Mm-hmm.
The nurse comes once a month to draw labs, and I meet with the physicians. I now meet with the physicians virtually,
Mm-hmm.
that manage the trial. So it is with my weight. So it's based on weight, the drug. So with my weight, I give 7 injections twice a week. Now, that is not an ideal treatment for my mind, but right now it's what we have, and it's what's lowering my homocysteine. So I'll take it.
Right. So yeah, I just enrolled in natural history study, so it's hoping to get on it, but I don't know yet. So, can you tell us about your experiences with the healthcare system in managing these conditions? Have you encountered any obstacles when trying to access necessary medical foods and formulas?
Yes, I have. Like I said, I was diagnosed at 5, was given state insurance, um, and I was given state insurance. Um, and so, but then at 21, I was kicked off that state insurance because it was only for kids under 21.
Mhm.
So then we lost coverage for my medical formula. We never had coverage for medical food. Um, so we relied on samples from companies, samples from the hospital for that. And like when my parents would get stuff when they could, um, and they were very supportive and they took their roles very, very significantly. Like they bought what they could, they helped to make low protein foods. So the struggle became when I was 21, trying to get my parents' private insurance to pay for medical formula. And in Michigan, that's not required. And most insurance companies have a flaw saying that they will only pay for medical formula and or food until they are 18. Um, when I was 23, I met Renette at a conference from Compassion Works. She worked with my mom's insurance company to get my medical food and formula covered. So I do now have coverage. Maybe it was a little later. I think it was a little later. Um, but I now do have coverage for both medical food and formula through my Blue Cross plan. But
Hmm.
it's something that I have to go through and get approved every year.
Yeah.
It's not something that like like my insulin, it's approved for life. Even though like I'm not on formulary medication, my formulary insulin for my drug company is Novolog, and I can't take Novolog. I can only take Humalog. They approve that for life, but they won't approve this. And this is something that is lifelong.
Mhm.
So, one other challenge that we did have with the healthcare system is when I was 21, I was forced to switch clinics. And that doctor that I was forced to switch to wanted to basically shoo me off to a very radical um, doctor that I saw was like, "Oh, we'll just give you a liver transplant." And that was not in my cup of tea. Like, I was not going to subject myself to having to take medication for rejection. And knowing that, yeah, this could cure homocystinuria, but there was only one other patient that had went through it. I was not going to be that kind of guinea pig
Mhm.
that could be like in a life altering decision. So I was thankful when our governor said, "Hey, once our governor signed a bill stating that we could go to any clinic in Michigan for care." So I was able to return back to the care of my original team
Mhm.
because I really don't know where I would be if I was still seen at um, the other clinic.
Mhm.
Like U of M has the University of Michigan has basically supported me in everything that I've done. They've supported all of my decisions with trying to manage both conditions. And there's always, if I need anything, if I'm sick or if I'm good, if I call the genetics team, I will have a call back within 48 hours.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Um, let's see. What role does the Medical Nutrition Equity Act play in your life? How would this legislation potentially make a difference for you and others facing similar challenges?
The Medical Nutrition and Equity Act would play a significant role. Right now, I am thankful that I am on my mom's health insurance and that they are willing to pay for things. But that isn't a lifelong situation. Like right now we have a waiver for me to be on her insurance, but that's not that's not always the truth, and that's not like I need something written that we can rely on the government to make sure that we're okay medically. Like I do get low protein food, and I often wonder if something, God forbid, ever happened, how would I survive? Because these things that are covered, $600 every couple of months for medical food, I wouldn't be able to afford that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on disability, like, and disabled, and there's no way I'd be able to maintain that, like, my way of life, and it would end up causing more pain and damage to my body. I would probably have a stroke. I would probably have blood clots. And these are things that I often worry about is the stability of not being able to get the medical nutrition that I need.
Mm-hmm.
So it would
You
kind
kind
of
of got a
be,
double. Well, you got a double whammy either way. So you're at risk for health problems either way because it's diabetes, heart attacks.
yeah.
Same thing with homocystinuria. So it's
But
um,
these things would help with
yeah,
lowering homocysteine and
yeah.
making sure that we have what we need there. Because if that's in check, it's easier to keep my blood sugars in check because I am on an insulin. I'm on insulin. I'm on an insulin pump, and I'm able to manage that stuff. I mean, when I was first diagnosed with diabetes, my A1C was like 7 point something, and now I have a normal A1C of 5.4.
Awesome. So let's see. Let's see. Have you had to advocate for yourself to get medical nutrition support? To get the medical nutrition support you need, what advice would you offer others navigating similar situations?
I did have to advocate for myself. We had to find loopholes into getting me approved after the age of 26 on my mom's private insurance and my dad's
Mm-hmm.
insurance. And there are loopholes. Like you can get on your parents' insurance as long as you are considered disabled. And even like people that are working some, they can still have a disability and they can still be claimed under their parents' insurance. It's just very challenging, and you have to stick through it. Like you have to be able to advocate yourself. You have to advocate to your physicians. Your physicians have to advocate to the insurance company about how important this is for them, for you to have this, to have insurance, to have these things covered. Because if not, your body, you more than likely will be hospitalized with
Mm-hmm.
unknowing side effects.
Yeah. So I know with I lost my train of thought. Um, just like, which I didn't know that you could actually be on your parents' insurance. So that's a good thing to know.
Yeah.
Uh, see, have you had to advocate for yourself to get medical nutrition support? we just went through that one. Beyond the physical needs, how do these conditions affect your emotional and mental well-being? How do you find support and coping mechanisms?
One way I do find support is the HCU Network of America. I look forward to the conferences. I look forward to Zoom chats with other patients with HCU. I am very fortunate growing up that I was given the opportunity to go to a metabolic camp with other patients that had PKU, and that gave me support. And I often think of a child that was managing both diabetes and PKU and how she was such a rock star at it. And I don't say that to like, I say that to be that if she can do it, I can do it. Um, because both conditions, you have to manage low protein diets. Both conditions, you have to be able to bring your blood sugar up when it drops. Um, so one thing I do look for is support groups through Facebook, support groups through hospital systems, conferences. Conferences are a big way that I look for meeting people, talking to people with HCU, um, meeting people with other inborn metabolism disorders that, mm, sorry, um, other metabolism disorders. And without the support of the HCU Network of America, I don't know. I think I would often be angry and be upset, but like it gives me hope. It gives me hope that we are not alone, that there are other people like us. I know I'm not the only one managing both homocystinuria and diabetes. Um, because I learned that through the community that we are a part of. Now, it's not common.
Yeah, I know of one other person.
It's not common, but it's there.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Um,
I think I lost my train of thought.
okay. As we discuss the importance of Diabetes Awareness Month, is there a message or a piece of advice you'd like to convey to those who have been newly diagnosed with diabetes or similar conditions?
I would like to convey that don't give up. There's support out there. You might have to look for it, but there's always people willing to help. If it's friends, it's friends. If it's people in the community, it's people in the community. Most hospital systems have diabetes support groups that meet um, once to every other month, but there is there's ways to get help, and um you don't need to worry. Like, you will get through it. It might be challenging, but you have to hold on to that there are other people like you out there and that they can help each other. Like, once you are diagnosed with diabetes, you are a part of a group, a community that's willing to help each other out.
Mhm. Beyond the physical aspects, how do these conditions affect your emotional? Oh, we did that. Okay. What would you like people to know about homocystinuria and diabetes? Are there Are there any common misconceptions you'd like to dispel?
So, one thing, like, when I was first diagnosed with both of them back in 2016, 17, even my medical doctors did not know how to manage both of them together, which is very scary. And you have to be your own best advocate. Like, there was ways where the physicians didn't really want to start me on insulin, or they only wanted to start me on intermediate insulin. And these are things that they work, but they don't work good. Meaning, intermediate insulin isn't something that's going to cover your meal. So there was times where I was running constant high, and I had a hospitalization in April of 2017 for something. And when I was in the hospital, they were managing my sugar so much more adequately. And it's because they were giving me short acting insulin. And we, I had to learn to advocate for myself after that about what my needs were. Trying to manage both conditions, I needed something to cover the carbs of the HCU, because without being able to cover the carbs, I'd constantly run high. I'd constantly be putting myself at risk of heart issues or kidney issues with diabetes, or vision issues. Yes, vision issues can go hand in hand with HCU and diabetes. I've already had to have my lenses replaced in both my eyes.
Mhm.
I don't want to do anything else to jeopardize my vision.
Um, what are what are your hopes for the future regarding the management of your condition and the accessibility of the medical nutrition support?
Say that one more time.
What are your hopes for the future and regarding management of your conditions and the and the accessibility of medical nutrition support?
So, my hopes for the future is that we would not have to worry about where the next funds for medical food are coming from, or where the next funds for um, formulas are coming from. Like, that it would be a no worry situation, like, for us. Um, it's not on the Medical Nutrition Act right now, but I strongly feel like insulin should be on there as well, because there are so many patients that can't afford their insulin. And insulin is just as expensive as medical food for some families per month. I know people that pay $1,000 to $3,000 in copays just for a bottle of insulin.
Mm-hmm.
So my hope would be that we would not have to worry that the financial stress or strain on families would not have to worry about where the next funds are coming from, that it would be something that would be taken care of by the government.
Mm-hmm. Um, is there okay? Kind of mentioned this before, but is there a support network or community that has been particularly meaningful for you in your journey, and how has it impacted your experiences?
So that support group would be the HCU Network of America and probably the University of Michigan healthcare system. Um, these two, they have helped me manage my conditions. They have given me emotional and mental support as well when my anxiety is so high because I don't know where the next $300 is going to come from. They help me figure it out. Um, they help me figure out where, they help me figure out loopholes to healthcare. And we try to manage the conditions as best as we can. But having support from other people like you is very, very much a it's a staple to
Mhm.
have.
How can listeners get involved in advocating for the Medical Nutrition Equity Act and raising awareness about the challenges and you and others face?
They can write letters to their senators. They can um, advocate on Rare Disease Awareness Week at Capitol Hill. They can, I would just say, basically the major thing is to advocate. Just keep, she's writing letters to your senators and your legislative, because those are the people that can make a difference. Like, and you will get through to somebody. It might take time, but there are legislative people out there that want to know your story, that want to help.
Mhm. So just let people know it's Rare Disease Week is February 25th through the 28th this week. Today's the last day to apply for the um, grant to help with that through the Rare Disease Legislative Act. So yeah, we as we come to an end of today's episode, I'd like to express our heartfelt gratitude to Jessica for sharing her remarkable journey with us. Her resilience and determination in the face of homocystinuria and diabetes are truly inspiring. Jessica's story highlights the urgent need for legislation like the Medical Nutrition Equity Act, which could transform the lives of countless individuals who face similar challenges. It's a reminder that change is possible, and together we can work towards the future where essential medical foods and formulas are accessible to all who need them. I encourage our listeners, to get involved, raise awareness, and advocate for the passage of the Medical Nutrition Equity Act. It is a cause that could make a world of difference to those like Jessica and so many others living with complex health conditions. To learn more about the Medical Nutrition Equity Act, go to nutritionequity.org. It's where you can read all the patient stories, look at the different bills. They also have the different covered conditions and a lot of other information there. We hope this episode has shed light on the importance of supporting individuals who courageously navigate these health challenges every day. Join us next time as we continue in today. Until next time, take care, stay informed, and remember, change begins with awareness and action. Thanks.
Thank you.